consumers, we're continuously bombarded with brand names, advertisements and logos. Our purchases, as individuals and as businesses, largely depend on what we interpret the brand to represent through colour schemes, shop fitting and atmosphere. So what makes a product stand out from the rest? I'm Cathy Davis, and today on Good Business, we're looking at the world of marketing and merchandising and how to give your product and business the edge on your competitors. A Nielsen survey of 29,000 people in 58 countries discovered that when it comes to advertising and branding, Australians are the least likely to be won over. It's been observed that Australians tend to have a cynical side when confronted with marketing techniques, and we like to consider ourselves as intellectual shoppers. So how do small businesses take the next step to utilise and enhance their brand without compromising integrity? To discuss these issues, I'm joined today by Donna Bond, a business marketing researcher with Research by Design, and Brian Brown from Better Business Now. Brian, how has business branding and image development changed over the years?
Sure, look, it has changed over years, and it really comes back down to people's perception and again, environmental issues and what's happening in the world. So we've talked about health and safety issues, environmental. If we go back to, say, for example, the 70s when car manufacturers, it was all more about how fast can we make cars go, and petrol wasn't an issue. Now today, it's about economy and health and safety. So that's sort of changed perception over that time.
How important to a business is merchandising and how it creates an environment for the clients?
Sure, look, merchandising is very important. Merchandising is really your silent salesperson, and it's designed to sell products. If we look at that car showroom as an example, it's how they set up, how people have an experience, and it's about creating an experience for the person to come in and wanting to buy that product or service.
When we talk about developing and promoting a business, it's important to also consider the business-to-business market. Research by Design specialises in this field. Donna, how important is it, is an immediate connection to the brand or logo, and what makes an effective brand or logo?
Well, yeah, the whole point of branding is to connect with your customers. And ideally, you want that connection to happen as soon as possible. I guess most business owners would be familiar with their business plan. That's a document that they have and that they've written, which identifies or describes their business. It describes the market they're in. It talks about their business objectives and also identifies some strategies for how to achieve those objectives. So essentially branding, so your logo plus other branding elements, are a way for you as a business owner to bring that business plan to life in the mind of your customers. And, so it's like a bridge, if you like, bridge between you and customers. And you want that bridge to be positive, strong, ideally. So what happens is that you promise something in your brand, it's experienced as a positive, and therefore you build, I guess, a trust between yourself and a customer, which then drives loyalty.
And how does effective marketing and branding change the perception of a business? Like, for instance, a bad logo and bad marketing and branding.
Yeah, and it's funny, in particular, with the businesses that we work with, so businesses can either market to the public or they can either market to other businesses. And what we've found in our experience is that if businesses are marketing to the public, they sort of have a better handle on branding. They also think it's more important. For the businesses that are marketing to other businesses, they sometimes don't feel it's a big deal. So what we've found in some of those businesses, what will happen is that we'll walk into a shop front, so we'll get one sort of impression about their visual identity and impression about their brand. Walk outside, have a look at the signage, and you get another completely different impression. The flyers that they're sending out, advertising promotions or products that they've got or discounts, have been designed by a graphic designer with a different sort of look and feel. So again, somebody driving past with that flyer in their hand has a look at the shop front and thinks, maybe this is actually a different business altogether, drives on and you've lost that customer.
How do you know what will appeal to customers?
You need to talk to them. Yeah. That's critical. It's critical. Your brand only exists in the minds of the customer. It doesn't exist anywhere else. And what you think your brand is will be completely different or could be completely different to how a customer thinks of your brand.
Thanks very much, Donna. It's quite evident that successful branding and merchandising can give a company a competitive edge. But when it comes to a logo and colour scheme, how do you know what will appeal to consumers? Next up, we speak with Sean Price and Danny Sinclair from Better Designs to see how a brand is developed and implemented. Welcome back to Good Business. Today on the show, we investigate the importance of good merchandising and marketing for Australian businesses. Earlier this week, we spoke with Sean Price and Danny Sinclair from Benga Designs to see what the first steps are for a business in developing their brand and company design.
My name is Danny Sinclair and I'm the owner-director of Benga Designs. Our primary objective here at Benga Designs is to manufacture signage for the franchise retail industry across Australia. My job is really about presenting their logo the most economical way and repetitive way that they can get their brand across. An effective brand or marketing solution is really the repetitiveness and consistency of a brand. So it's the consistency of the colour, the format, the style, the look, and everything that a potential customer would associate with that brand.
My name is Sean. I'm the brand and logo design consultant. A new company, for instance, would come to me with a logo idea. I would advise them on balancing out the logo first, whether they want them contemporary or traditional, and balancing between the icon and the text itself, whether they're working in symbiosis with each other, or we will advise them if their logo is fighting with each other, the icon and the text, and we can work with that icon to further their brand. Colour is essential to branding and logo design. It gives the logo and its brand purpose. It symbolises what service they're going to give to the public. A corporate colour would be blues, a brown colour for their logo, giving it a nice earth connotation. We're programmed to respond to colour. For example, if you stop at a stop sign as in red, that gives you purpose. It gives it purpose, a colour to a logo.
And communication in the branding is making it approachable. The look of the shop and its shop fitting is again like a brand. They're portraying what their brand is, whether it's young, whether it's old, whether it's modern. They use that by music, they use it by colours, and obviously the shop fittings. There's definitely a line that you come to where you need to step up your marketing, your image, your brand, and make those sort of decisions. You can get away with it to a certain point, but then you really do need to go down that path.
I think a good brand would be something that's memorable, something that you can relate to. They allow us to work our way through the world that has thousands of brands that you've got to compete against. You need to understand what people want now, in present. Branding is changing all the time and is fashionable, and you've got to keep up with that.
Sorry. Hello.
In present, branding is changing all the time and is fashionable, and you've got to keep up with that.
Thank you to Sean Price and Danny Sinclair from Benga Designs. Brian, do you believe that a large part of client and consumer preference comes down to the appeal of the label or logo?
Yeah, look, surprisingly so. A good logo and label will build good credibility and trust in consumers. If we look at something like Mercedes, when we think about Mercedes, something we think about luxury, business, success. So yes, absolutely it does.
And Donna, what's the importance of effective shop fitting and merchandising?
Well, there are two more branding elements that a business can use to communicate what it is that it does to customers. So my advice to business owners would be to take a critical look at, their their merchandising, their shop fittings, and consider what messages are they sending about their business to their potential customers. Because, you know, if you stand for something like reliability, is that the message that they're going to get when they walk in store? Or if you stand for something like energy, are you conveying that effectively? I think an in-store experience is a perfect opportunity to get your message across to customers. They're captive.
In the new age of affordable travel and online shopping, the average customer has taken on a new meaning. Businesses are communicating and targeting a wider range of consumers, all with their own independent habits, needs and preferences. Brian, are the needs of the public changing too rapidly for businesses to keep up?
It's a very good question, and the short answer will be yes for most businesses. Big businesses, yes, they employ people to keep up to date with this, and the public is changing, and a lot of this is internet driven of what we see, social media and things. Small businesses, yes, it's very hard for them to keep up.
So you've developed a brand design, selected your colour scheme, the logo's in place and your signage and store layout is complete. This alone is a huge step for a business, but now we need to know the best way to promote your business in a cost-effective and unique way. Next up, we speak with Ken Watson from What's in a Name and Best in Uniforms and one of his clients to discuss putting brand design to work. Welcome back to Good Business. Developing a logo and individual look gives a product and business an identity. We've looked at how this is successfully achieved and implemented into a workplace. Now, what's the next step in taking a business into a new market and connecting with a larger audience? We spoke with What's in a Name and RFS Finance to discuss uniforms, promotional products, and gaining an edge by implementing your brand design where it counts.
My name is Ken Watson and I am the Managing Director and owner of What's in a Name, Best in Uniforms. Our primary objective is to produce printed promotional products for all sorts of different businesses, where we put company logos on pens, calculators, coffee mugs. We do an embroidery, screen printing, pretty much any product that a customer wants to put their logo onto. Businesses that seek our services are anywhere from a multinational, corporate, charities, right down to a small business, one or two people band. Anyone that wants to use a logo on a promotional product. A business will come to us and they'll normally sometimes have a preconceived idea, but we will sit down and help them sort of work out the best product for them and the best way. So a client may come in and say they want to do a polo shirt, but actually after asking a series of questions they might actually want to end up doing a pen or a watch, whatever. We will help them sort of suit their promotion to whatever they need to do as far as their target market is. You get more exposure with promotional products, and the main reason is because promotional products, when people spend their money on a product, they're actually getting the advertising directly to the person who they want to give it to, as opposed to other forms of advertising like, say, radio or newspaper. When someone puts an ad in a newspaper, it's a bit of a shotgun effect to find out if someone's reading that ad or wanting that particular product at that particular moment. Whereas a promotional product, they can get their message directly to the person who they want to advertise to.
My name's Steve Carlin. I'm the General Manager of RFS Finance. We provide financial solutions to personal and business corporate clients, ranging in services from home loans, commercial loans, business loans, investment loans, car finance, equipment finance, personal risk insurance and superannuation. We've used Ken Watson and What's in a Name for many years for all our promotional products, where they created the label for us with the badging, pens, even our gold watches for our people that have been in the business along with me for 10 years. We've had coffee mugs, polo shirts, business shirts, stubby coolers, caps, and many, many more. Ken understood our business and he asked me enough questions to understand what we're trying to achieve, how we operated in our business, and he was able to suggest a marketing strategy that matched our business. We created a letter that we wanted to send out to accountants. So we wanted to work hand in hand with these accountants in providing clients to the accountants and also looking after their clients. But we wanted a gimmick, if you like, so the accountants would actually take the time and read the letter. Ken spent a lot of time, he already understood our business, but he really spent the time in asking me enough questions about what we're trying to achieve that he came up with the apron strategy. He designed and developed an apron in our corporate colours and look. And we changed our marketing introductory letter around to cater for that. We've sent 38 of those aprons out, and we've been face to face with 14 accountants. So I think the strike rate's around 35%, which far exceeded any expectation we had, and far exceeded any expectation we were led to believe we could get from most marketing people we'd spoken to previously. The promotion for us worked in a couple of ways. It was really good because the apron was gimmicky, there's no doubt about that. And the letter that went with it was quite gimmicky. It talked about having barbecues, having time to have them, developing stakeholders with that play on words with STEAK. We're not a sausage factory, cooking with gas. There was a lot of barbecue type implications which made the letter quite gimmicky and the introduction quite gimmicky, but there's no question that the apron and the gift of the apron allowed us to have, for the accountant to actually read the letter, and that was the difference. We wanted the accountant to read the letter, wanted them to digest what the letter said, and then it was easy for me to make that follow-up phone call 2 or 3 days later, because you could say, you got to get through the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper sits at the desk and you say, hi, I'm ringing for Bill Smith. They say, what's it about? I'd like to talk to you about a business opportunity. That's the hardest call to make, and getting past that, we call them the gatekeeper, that, you know, the person who answers the phone, is so difficult. But I found with those 40-odd phone calls that the feedback's been fantastic. And all I say is I'm phoning about an apron I sent them.
The edge or that the promotion products use is the fact is that unlike other forms of advertising, which gives you more of a scattergun effect, promotional products get your logo or your message directly to the person who you want to do the advertising with. So as far as bang for your bucks go, it's far better to do a promotional product than any other form of advertising, because it will get to the person you're trying to get your logo to. A product's only a product until you put your logo to it, then it becomes an advertisement.
And there we had Ken Watson and Steve Carlton showcasing the benefits of making your brand and logo work overtime to gain advantage over competitors. Surveys have proven that an advertising commercial has an average 32% effectiveness with Australian consumers, while the global average sits at 55%. With certain marketing tools proving less than effective in Australian markets, promotional products provide a fresh advertising opportunity for businesses. Donna, why are there more traditional forms of marketing failing for some businesses?
Yeah, I think there's a few reasons, and it does vary across industry types and depending on the target audience that the business is going after. But I just want to sort of take out the traditional for a second and just look at why marketing might not be working or why marketing is failing for small businesses. And firstly, it may be because a business isn't clear in its own mind, in its own head, if you like, about what it is that it does and how it differs from its competitors. Because if you're not communicating that to customers, then there's no reason why they would choose you over another business. The other thing is, even if you get that right and you begin to communicate that and brand yourself, you may do that in an inconsistent way. So the customer isn't getting a clear impression of what it is that you do and how you stand out. So it might be a disjointed message or a confusion that they see you as. And so again, your marketing efforts may fail. Thirdly, a reason why marketing might not work, even if you get those two things right, you might be talking to your customers through the wrong channel, and that's where traditional comes into play. We have dealt with a lot of businesses that have been very slow and very reluctant to develop an online presence and to take advantage of social media strategies. And in a day and age where customers do so much of their searching for products online, word of mouth is becoming a lot more important than word of mouth.
I love that, word of mouth versus word of mouth. First time I've heard that. What are some other ways that businesses can make themselves stand out and be recognised by potential clients?
Yeah, I think creating a dialogue with customers is one way they can do that. And like I said before, using social media like Facebook if you're marketing directly to customers. If you're marketing to other businesses, Twitter is probably a more effective medium for you. Another great way is to use podcasts and video marketing. So you can get your customers to use a product and film them, record that, put that on your website. You can also show somebody who's actually experienced your service talking about the same thing.
Thanks, Donna. Great tips. It's evident that in order to get your brand noticed, businesses need to consider all aspects of promotion, packaging and advertising. For entrepreneurs and small businesses looking at taking the next step, here are a few tips from our experts. Ken Watson from What's in a Name and Best in Uniforms tips are to make the most of your business logo and colour scheme through uniforms, stationery and promotional items. And get the most out of your budget. Market your business directly to your target audience. Danny Sinclair, owner of Benga Designs, tips: an effective marketing strategy is the repetitiveness and consistency of a brand. And when it comes to shop fittings and signage, think about colours and shapes in your design that will attract your ideal customer. Great advice from industry professionals. Brian, some final words from you. Is it imperative for small businesses to step up in brand design and marketing to compete with larger corporations?
Absolutely, Kathy. It's very imperative. Good branding, good marketing will make a small business look bigger. It'll build trust, it'll build credibility and make you look more professional.
Thanks, Brian. And Donna, your final tips on marketing and merchandising for companies looking to develop their business-to-business relations?
Yeah, look, I'd like to point out again a point I've already made earlier, and that is that a business needs to really understand what it is that it does and how it stands apart from its competitors in its branding. They need to get that right, and the branding will stem from there. The other thing is, I would point out that never assume that your customers are thinking about your brand the way that you want them to. I can practically guarantee from the research that I've done in the business-to-business space that there will always be a gap. So for some businesses it's a large gap, for other businesses it's a relatively small gap. But your job as a business owner is to figure out where that gap is by talking to your customers and then fix it.
Thanks, Donna. Well, we've certainly discovered that for businesses to establish themselves in their market, unique and catchy brand design is imperative in giving your business the edge. In order for small businesses to compete with larger competitors, distinctive marketing is paramount and can be achieved even on a small budget. I'd like to thank Brian and Donna and our guests on location who've contributed to a fascinating discussion today. For more information on this topic and our guests, log on to www.goodbusinesstv.com.au. Next week, Good Business takes a look at the benefits of franchising, how it can help you establish yourself as a business owner. I'm Kathy Davis. Thank you for watching Good Business.